I think it'd be good if you just gave us a bit of a snapshot as who you are, what you've done in terms of ministry, where you are now.
Yep. So my name's Mike O'Connor. I'm the minister at Salt Presbyterian Church on the Gold Coast, and we've been here for 2 years. And prior to that, I was a pastor at Rockhampton for 10 and a half years, and had a little bit of a stint in New South Wales in a rural town called Henty for 4 and a bit years as well.
Now, you've been doing the Mentor Equipping course that we've been running. This is your second year. I wonder, can you tell us maybe a couple of things that you've been learning during that time?
Look, there's been lots that we've been learning. I think the interpersonal skills has been really helpful, which is something that we use all the time, learning how to listen to people, learning to listen to what people are saying. Their verbal and non-verbal cues has been really helpful just to do that, how to listen well. That's been excellent, really helpful stuff. Moving through to things like conflict resolution, managing it, being a team operating together as a team in teamwork. We've also done some stuff on transitions and also Bowen family systems theory and just personal spiritual health. There's some things that I've been learning, as well as, Myers-Briggs personality tests and things like that.
Yep. So it's great learning all those things, and it's really good sort of preparing you to do some mentoring. How many people are you mentoring at the moment?
Yeah, probably 4 officially, but a few more unofficially, just by virtue of who I am and, the kind of influence that you have as a leader.
Yeah. So tell me, how have you found learning this stuff? I mean, it's obviously going to be helpful in terms of mentoring, but has it had any application in terms of your parish life, the day-to-day running a parish and working with people?
Yeah, significantly. So I'm becoming more and more aware of who I am and how healthy, that my health and the way that I relate to others is significant for not just the culture, but also the way people learn how to grow in our church. Who I am in terms of my relationships with my team, my elders and staff, those things have been significant. Being more aware of who I am in order to know what God's doing and the things that he's working on in me have been really, really helpful. That's just at a personal level, but also in terms of ministry, we've been those issues that we talked about in terms of conflict resolution, transitions, those things have been really helpful too. The church that I came to was a broken church. There'd been a split here. And so knowing how I relate and how I behave and how I respond to certain things sets the tone for everybody else. That's been enormous. So they're things that have been really helpful, but also in terms of the team and the eldership, we've learned to grow together through some of these things that we've been learning through the mentoring course. So yeah, it's helped me enormously to work out where church is and what real spiritual health looks like. That discipleship isn't something that's just a program that we run, but it's more about people being connected and becoming more like Jesus. So the mentoring course has been helpful for that.
So it sounds like you recommend the mentoring course to people who are thinking about being involved in ministry in a really deep way.
I wouldn't think twice. I'd sign up, absolutely.
Thanks.
Hi, so I'm doing the mentoring course because I was meeting up with some young women, and I'm doing the course to enable me to help them to go further, to expand the toolkit that I have, to have a better idea of what are the different ways to solve the different problems that arise, and also how to get them to think about who they are in Christ and how to keep growing and moving forward. So I've learned quite a lot from the course, lots of different ways of thinking. Some of them I've encountered before. I've worked on developing some skills. I've got new skills. And probably the thing I value the most is that it's given me different ways into different problems. So a set of different questions that I now come to with things that are much broader than what I had before. And I think probably the way it's impacted my ministry is I've got a lot more confidence, and I have more of a sense that there's a different different things suit different people, and to have a different set of approaches for one person can be a good thing, and a completely different set for another person can work as well. So I think it's given me a lot more flexibility in that.
Peter, look, thank you so much for joining us. Mate, how about first up, you just give us a little bit of your background, sort of how long you've been ministering, where are you now?
Yep, so this is my 10th, 11th year of ministry. So I did 9 years at Dalby Presbyterian Church, and I am now at Stanthorpe Presbyterian Church in my second year. So Dalby, 9 years there, big church, big staff, 3 congregations. I moved from there to a small country church, Stanthorpe, which is basically a revitalisation of a small church.
So do you want to talk about the course itself, maybe its structure, how it works, those sorts of things, to give people an idea of what they're getting themselves into?
It's a 3-year course. Every year there's a live-in component, which is 3 days, I think. We live in for 3 days. We go away and with your classmates and spend 3 days just doing lessons and workshops. Apart from that 3 days of live-in, like a residential training, there's 2 other one-day workshops that we do. We either meet together, or under COVID, sometimes we've had to do it via Zoom. So apart from the residential training and the 2 one-dayers, there's also, we have assignments that we do between normally those meetings, and something like 3 assignments a year, which really sort of flow out of the training that we've had. So all the assignments have been really practical and actually an application of what we've learned into our mentoring. So that's pretty much the structure. So it's 3 years part-time that you do at the same time as you are actually mentoring.
You learn at the same time as you're actually doing mentoring. How does that work? Is that good?
Yeah, no, it is good. So after you've done that first residential, the great thing about that first residential is that you right from the very start, you can see an overall framework, like a process, a flow of how mentoring works. And after that first residential, you're encouraged, and in fact, that's probably the best thing to do, actually start mentoring, get a mentoree, start mentoring. You've got enough training to start right there. And what you'll find is that over time, throughout the 3 years, you'll just keep building on that process, getting more skills under your belt. And the mentor training becomes an opportunity for you to bring questions about things you're actually working on on the job. So it's very much sort of on the job as you're doing it, you're getting trained up. And I found that worked really well. Part of becoming a mentor is you've got to get a mentor yourself, so that your own mentor is generally a really good help too. Plus, we get some supervision through the course as well.
How about you tell us maybe a couple of things that you've learnt while you've been doing the course that you found really helpful?
So the great thing about being a mentor is that you're focusing on, you ask yourself the question, how do I help this person before me to become a better pastor, husband, father, just kind of child of God? And so they'll bring forward, we'll sit down and we'll set objectives for that person that your mentoree want to achieve during the year. And so your job as a mentor is to help them achieve those objectives.
How has doing the mentor training impacted your ministry? Has it had any impact at all?
So like the mentor training gives you all sorts of skills in terms of, just process thinking about what is healthy ministry, how do we pursue that, leadership issues, how do I deal with leadership issues in my church well, how does a minister grow in terms of their emotional health and spiritual health and all that sort of stuff. So I implement all of that into my own ministry. I implement that in my work with my elders. My session benefit from me being as well-rounded and healthy as I can. I'm passing those skills on to them and encouraging them in their self-care and spiritual formation. And in terms of dealing with leadership challenges and processes and change and transition and things like that in my own congregation, the skills that I've learned, I employ all of that. So while there's definitely a time factor, like I commit some time to this. I mean, for me, I've got 4 mentorees at the moment, and the way I do that, I do a day a month where I just block out. That's my mentoring day. So there's a sense in which my church, loses me for a day a month, but what I learn in that month makes me a far better minister, and enables me to actually do a better job at what I'm doing in my local context.